Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, we are going to discuss an example related to the root locus. The characteristic equation of the system is given to us, that is this one, s cube plus 10s square plus ks plus k, and we need to sketch the root locus. So first of all, we will express it in the standard form, that is 1 plus g of s into h of s, that is equal to 0. So from this equation, we can write it like that by taking the k common out from the last two terms, and then this can be written like that. So this portion is g of s into h of s. So g of s into h of s is given by this equation. Let's suppose this is equation a. Okay, now looking at that one, we can see that our two poles are at the origin. It's a type 2 system. So one pole at the origin, second pole at the origin, and then the next pole is at s is equal to minus 10, and there is 1 0 as well, which is sitting at s is equal to minus 1. So these are the poles and these are the zeros. So there are three poles, there is 1 0, and the number of asymptotes, number of paths towards the zeros which are sitting at the infinity are equal to 2, because one pole will move toward 1 0, the other two pole will move towards the infinity. So 2 is n minus m is basically the number of the poles moving towards the infinity. Okay, and then for the asymptotic angles, we calculate n minus m minus 1, so that is equal to 1, so it means q will be equal to 0 and 1. So there will be two asymptotes in this case, along which your poles, closed loop poles, will be reaching the infinity. So let's look at the pole 0 map. The pole 0 map is that one double pole at the origin, 1 0 is at s is equal to minus 1, and one pole is at s is equal to minus 10. Next, we'll see that which part of the real axis is the part of the root locus. So if we take a test point over here, there are two poles on the right, so this is not the part of the root locus because it's an even number. Now if we take some point over here at this portion of the real axis, and for all of this portion, if I look at towards the right, so there is 1 0 and 2 poles, so total count is 3. So it's an odd number, so this portion is the portion of the root locus, the part of the root locus. And if I take the test point over here, so we have 4 poles and zeros on the right side of this one, so it is not the part of root locus. So this portion is the part of the root locus. Okay, now let's look at the angle of asymptotes and the centroid. So as we have seen, the q is equal to 0 and 1, so we know the expression for the asymptotic angles, that is this one. So first of all, taking q is equal to 0 and n minus 1, n minus m is equal to 2, right? So using this, we can find out what will be the angle of the asymptote, the 90 degree and the 270 degree. And the centroid can be obtained by taking the summation of the real parts of the poles minus the real parts of the zeros, right? So there are two pole at the origin and one pole at minus 10, so this is the real part of that pole, and then 1 0 that is at minus 1. So taking the difference of that one, and n minus m is equal to 2, so our centroid is at minus 4.5. So now sketching the asymptotes over the pole 0 map, so that you can see over here, and this is the point where the centroid, where s is equal to minus 4.5. So at this point our asymptotes will intersect the real axis. So this is our first asymptote a1, this is our second asymptote a2, moving towards the infinity, and this angle is 90 degree as you can see over here, and this angle is 270 degree as you have calculated over here, right? Okay, now let's look at the breakaway and the break-in points. So for that we need to know the characteristic equation that is given to us, and from here we will find out the expression for the k. So k is given by this one, this is the expression for the k. Now taking the derivative of k with respect to s, so we will get this expression, and then setting this derivative equal to 0, we will get the roots which will be either breakaway or the break-in points, and then we will confirm that these are breakaways or break-ins or not. Okay, so this is the equation that we get by setting the derivative equal to 0. So we have this expression, right? And from here I can say s is either equal to 0 or this portion is equal to 0. So one root is at 0 and the other two roots which are obtained by solving this quadratic equation. So one root is at minus 2.5 and the other one is at minus 4. So now if we check at the break-away and break-in, so first of all taking s is equal to minus 2.5 and using it in this expression of the k over here, so replacing s with this S with the minus 2.5 and this one with minus 2.5, and similarly this part, and solving it we get 31.25. so it's a confirmed break away or break-in point. And similarly if we take S is equal to minus 4 and we use it in this expression, right, so we will be getting 32, it's positive, so it is also a confirmed breakaway or the break-in point. Next we look at the j omega crossover. For j omega crossovers we will have to write down the characteristic equation and we will have to set up the Routh table. So over here it is 1 and k in the first row, and then 10 and k in the second row, and then developing the Routh table we will get this expression. Okay, so when this will be multiplied with this, and it should be k over here, it should not be 0, so this is k. Okay, next step is to find out the marginal condition. So in order to have the complete row 0, this should be equal to kept equal to 0. So by taking it equal to 0, k margin comes out to be 0, which is not possible, right? Because what is the root locus? Root locus when k is equal to 0 to infinity, where the poles are going to move. So if the k is equal to 0, this whole row is going to become 0. It is only possible that when the k is 0. So there is no intersection with the j omega axis. And there is no complex pole, there is no complex 0, so there is no angle of departure in the arrival. So now with this information we are going to sketch the root locus. So here is that what we have already discussed, and we have drawn the asymptotes, we have calculated the angles. There is no j omega crossover. So if there is no j omega crossover, so where these two poles will move, these poles over here, we have seen that we have the break away or break in, and where it is dead. It is at two locations. One is at minus 2.5 and the other one is at minus 4. Both are confirmed breakaway points or break-in points, right? So just note down these one, minus 2.5 and minus 4. So how we can predict about the root locus? These two poles, definitely they will have to move the 0, but they cannot move over this portion because this is not the part of root locus. If I zoom it, this is not the part of the root locus. So these poles will come out of the real axis right over here, and then they will enter into the real axis, break in at this point. Similarly this pole will be coming over here, and then this pole will move toward the 0, and then this pole will move along the real axis and will come out of the real axis at the next point, that will be the breakaway point. And this pole, as this is the part of the root locus, will come over here and will move toward the infinity along this asymptote, right? So the root locus sketch for this system is given over here. This pole moves from here and comes to this position. This is the point S is equal to minus 2.5. We have checked it before that it's the break in or break away. So it is break in at the moment because your poles are entering into the real axis at this point, right? One pole is moving toward this 0 and the other pole is moving along this real axis, because this real axis is the part of the root locus. So it is moving over here, and then there is the breakaway, and this breakaway is at point S is equal to what was that point? S is equal to minus 4. This one point was at minus 2.5 and other one is at minus 4. So at minus 4 they will be coming out of the real axis. So one pole that is coming over here along the real axis, and then at S is equal to minus 4 it will move out of the real axis and will move along the asymptote towards the 0, which is sitting at the infinity. And similarly this pole, which will travel along this real axis and will come out at this point and move toward the infinity. So what is break-in or breakaway point? Where the multiple roots of the root locus, closed loop poles, exist. Multiple poles, because this pole is coming over here, this pole is coming from here, so these two poles will overlap over here, and then they will come out of the real axis. One pole will move over here and then the other pole is move over here, right? Similarly, when there was a break in, these two poles were coming over here, and they will when they will enter into the real axis, both of them will lie at this point. So multiple roots at one point, right? Okay, so now let's look at the MATLAB code. Here is the MATLAB code. The numerator is 1 and 1 because if I write down the transfer function, so the transfer function is s plus 1, and there is 1 0 in the system, so for that numerator will be 1 and 1, and we have s square into s plus 10. So two poles are at 0 and one is at minus 10. So this is the denominator. Then we have defined the transfer function, and then the root locus command, and we have set the limits for the x-axis and the y-axis to observe the root locus properly. So here you can see there are the double poles over here. One pole is moving like this, coming into the real axis from here, and the other pole will be moving like that, and one pole will move toward this 0, and the other pole, sorry, if I follow the MATLAB colors, so this pole that was coming from here will move toward this 0, right, and this pole coming from here, let me draw it with different. So this is the root locus, this will be coming over here, then from here it will move over the real axis, and then there is the breakaway. So this pole will take this path, and the other pole which was coming over this axis, right, like this, it will travel like this. Okay, so this is the root locus sketch from the MATLAB. Okay, so now the next example, the transfer function is given to us, that is this one, k over s into s plus 2 into s square plus 2s plus 5. There are 4 poles, there is no 0. So there are 4 poles, no 0. Number of locus towards the infinity, those will be equal to 4. And for asymptotic angles, we can use this one and minus m. Minus 1, it is 3. So q will be 0, 1, 2 and 3. There will be 4 asymptotes. So the poles are positioned. One pole is at 0, the other pole is at minus 2, and the two poles from this equation, those are the complex poles. So these are the complex poles. Okay, so now the pole 0 map of these is shown over here. One pole is over here and the other pole is at this position, right, minus 1 plus 2j, and one pole is over here and the other pole is at the origin. Okay, so this is the pole 0 map. Now we see which part of the real axis is the part of the root locus. So if we take any test point over here, there is one pole on the right side, so this is the part of the root locus. This portion is not the part of the root locus, because if we take any test point over here and if we look at towards the right, so one pole is this one, other pole is this one, so it's an even number. So this is not the root locus. Only this portion is the root locus. Okay. Okay, next is to look at the angle of asymptotes and centroids. So there are 4 values of the q, 0, 1, 2 and 3. So using this expression for the asymptotic angles, taking q is equal to 0, 1, 2 and 3, and n minus m is equal to 4, right, as you can see over here, all the poles will move towards the infinity. So taking it equal to 4, if we calculate all of these asymptotic angles, those will be 45, 135, 225 and 315 degree. And if we calculate the centroid, centroid is sum of the real parts of the poles. One pole is at minus 2, the other one is minus 1 and minus 1. Here you can see 0, minus 2, this is at minus 1 and this is the minus 1. So sum of the real parts will be equal to minus 4, right, and there is no 0, so that will be 0, no real part of the 0. So real part of the poles divided by n minus m, that is 4, so your centroid is at minus 1. So now we sketch the asymptotes. One asymptote is this one, that is at the angle of 45 degree, right, meeting the real axis. And what is this point? This point is s is equal to minus 1 from the centroid, right. This is our first asymptote. The second asymptote is at the angle of 135 degree that we have calculated over here. The third asymptote is this one. This is at the angle of 225 degree, right, and the fourth asymptote is this one, which is at the angle of 315 degree, or in this direction it will be minus 45. So you know that the root locus is always symmetric about the real axis, so that you can see whatever you have in the upper S plane, right, same you have in the lower S plane, two asymptotes. Okay. Okay, now let's calculate these j omega crossovers when the poles, closed loop poles, will be moving along these asymptotes, so where they will cross this imaginary axis. So before that, we need to look at the break away or break in points. Break away definitely. So this is the part of the root locus. So when these poles will move across this real axis, they will come out at certain point and will move toward the infinity. So breakaway. So let's calculate that breakaway. So for the breakaway, we need to have the characteristic equation, that is 1 plus g of s into h of s is equal to 0. So we know this expression, g of s into h of s. So from here we can write down the characteristic equation, which is this one. Okay. So from here we can set up the equation for the k, and then we can take the derivative of k with respect to s. So that will be minus 4s cube minus 12s square minus 18s minus 10. And setting it equal to 0 and solving it, we get the breakaway points. Okay, so taking it equal to 0, it means this will be equal to 0. And if we solve this one, so s will be equal to minus 1 and minus 1 plus minus 1.225j. Okay, so now if we check at s is equal to minus 1, so k is equal to 4. K is obtained from this equation, taking s is equal to minus 1. So it is positive, so it is a confirmed breakaway point. Similarly, if we take s is equal to this one, so you will be getting 6.25. So is it this is positive, so it is a confirmed what you can say breakaway point. And similarly, if the k is equal to s is equal to minus 1 minus 1.225j, so k is equal to 6.25, it is also confirmed. Okay, now let's look at the j omega crossovers. So j omega crossovers, again using the characteristic equation. This is the characteristic equation, and first of all let's develop the route table. So 1, 9 and k, 1, 9 and k, then taking 4, 10 and 0, 4, 10 and 0, and then developing this row, 4 into 9 minus 10 divided by 4, so you will get this. And similarly 4 into k divided by this divided by 4, so you will get equal to k, right? And then multiplying these two minus this part divided by this pivot value, so you will get this expression, and the other entries will be 0. And then this multiplied by this minus 0 divided by this, you will get k. So this is the route table. So for the complete 0 row, this will be set equal to 0, so that you can see we have set it equal to 0, right? And from here if we calculate the k, so k will be equal to 260 by 4. So this is the marginal value of the k. So if the k is set equal to this one, your poles will be right at the j omega crossovers. So now let's define the auxiliary polynomial that will be defined from this equation. So that is this one, auxiliary 26 by 4 into s square plus k. So this is our auxiliary polynomial. So k is equal to 260 by 4. So taking that one, the marginal value, so taking this expression equal to 0 and solving it, we will get the j omega crossover. So j omega crossover will be at minus 1.58 and plus 1.58j. Okay, now we have two complex poles in this system, so definitely there will be the angle of departure. How we calculate angle of departure? That is given as 180 degree plus the argument of g of s into h of s, excluding the pole for which we are calculating the angle of departure, right? So this is the argument of the open loop gain, but in this we will not consider the pole for which we are calculating the angle of departure. Okay, so let's calculate it graphically. The angle of departure will be for this pole and for this pole. The two other poles are at the origin, this one and this one, so there is no calculation of angle of departure for these poles, only for this pole and this pole. So we will be calculating for one pole, as we know that it is symmetric, root locus is symmetric about the real axis, so its mirror image will be there. So we need to just calculate the angle of departure of one pole, the other one will be with the opposite sign. Okay, so calculating the angles. First of all, considering this pole, and this is the line joining this pole for which we are measuring the angle of departure with this pole which is at the origin. So this angle is to be calculated, theta 1, right? So theta 1 will be equal to, if I look at this triangle, so from this triangle this will be equal to minus 1 and this will be equal to 2, so minus 2 by 1. So because of this minus, I can write it like that, 180 degree minus tangent inverse of 2 by 1, because basically I need this angle. So this angle comes out to be 116.56. okay, then considering the second pole, that is at s is equal to minus 2, this is the line joining this one, so we are going to calculate this angle theta 2. So now let's consider this triangle. So what about this length? This is minus 1 point and this is minus 2 points, so this difference is of 1 and this height is of 2. So again, using the tangent inverse of 2 by 1, I will get at this angle. So this is equal to 63.44 degree. And the last one, we are considering this pole, so the line joining this pole with this one is this one, and considering a line parallel to the real axis, so this angle is of 90 degrees. So theta 3 will be equal to 90 degree. Okay, now for how to find out the argument of g of s into h of s. So if you look at the transfer function, if I go back and if we look at that one, so this is our transfer function. Basically s, one pole is at 0, one pole is at -2, and two poles are at -1 plus 2j. Okay, so we need to find out the argument of this one. So first of all, let's write down this expression, that g of s into h of s, that is equal to k over, one pole is at origin, the other pole is at -2, so it will be written like that, and the next pole will be at +1 minus 2j, and s plus 1 plus 2j. So these are the four poles, right? So we need to find out its argument. So now the argument of this one, g of s into h of s, so that will be equal to there is no 0, so 0 degree from the zeros, and the angle of this pole s, which is at the origin, so that is equal to which one we have calculated, this one, minus 116.56, so minus 116.56 with the pole, because we are considering this pole, so we are looking at with respect to that one. We will exclude this pole from here, and that is this pole, so this pole will not be considered, rest of the three poles will be considered, minus the angle of this pole with the selected pole, so s plus 2, so this pole we have calculated that one, that is 63.44. so when it will go into the numerator, so it will be minus 63.44 degree, and then the angle of this pole, so this is 90 degree with this line. Okay, so minus 90 degree, so if we calculate that one, this comes out to be minus 270 degree, that is this one. So argument excluding this pole at this pole, -1 plus 2j, so this is the argument at this one. So now we can find out the angle of departure. Angle of departure will be equal to 180 degree plus the argument of g of s into h of s excluding this pole, so that is equal to 270 degree, so minus 270 degree, so 180 minus 270 degree minus 90 degree, and by symmetry the angle of departure of the other pole will be plus 90 degree, right? So now if I want to sketch the root locus, so we have already seen this diagram. Now we have calculated the angle of departure. Okay, so one angle of departure is minus 90 and the other angle of departure is plus 90. So how the poles will move? How will these poles move? This pole is to depart at minus 90 degree, so this will move like this, and this pole from its position will move like that at plus 90 degree. This will move at minus 90 degree, it means it will move in this direction, in the downward direction, and this pole will move in the upward direction. Okay, now let's look at the root locus. Okay, so now here you can see this pole s is equal to 0 will move, and here is the breakaway that we have already calculated, that is at this point, right? So when this pole will be moving along this real axis, because this real axis is the part of the root locus, so this pole will be moving like that, and this pole will be moving like that. Okay, so this pole coming over here will break away, and after the breakaway it will move like that, and from this point which we have calculated, that was equal to minus 1 minus 1.225. Just remember when we were calculating breakaway or break in points, so we have calculated that one, this is a confirmed breakaway. So basically this point, when this will come out of the real axis at the angle of 90 degree, right, because there are 180 divided by 2, so 90 degree will be the plus minus 90 degree will be the angle at which your poles will be coming out of this axis. So one pole will be moving at this point, and from here this pole will move like this, right, with the variation of the gain k, and it will cross the j omega axis at this point, what is 1.58j. so at this point it will cross the j omega axis, this one, right? And similarly over here, when this pole coming over here will move like this, and from this point it will start moving towards the asymptote, and it will move along the asymptote and will cross the j omega axis at minus 1.58 j, right? And the other pole, the two complex poles which are over here, this one and this one, we have calculated the angle of departure. Its angle of departure is minus 90 degrees, so it will move like this, and coming over here, the multiple routes are there at this point, and then it will be departing like this and will travel along the asymptote towards the infinity. And similarly, this pole, its angle of departure was plus 90 degrees, so it is coming in this direction. From here it will depart towards its zero, which is sitting at infinity, right along this asymptote. So this will be the root locus. When we will change the gain k, say the open loop poles, when the k is equal to 0, now we have the open loop points. These open loop points are these one, this point, and this point, and this point, and this point. There are 4 poles, but as the gain k will be changed, this will be moving like that, this will be moving like that, and finally they will come out of the real axis like this. They will travel like this, and then they will move towards the infinity along these two asymptotes. And these poles, according to the angle of departure, minus 90 degree and plus 90 degree, they will first of all move along this line, and then from here they will move towards the infinity, right? So now let's look at the MATLAB command, MATLAB sketch for this one. So here you can see that numerator is equal to 1, and the polynomial has been set for the denominator by taking the position of the poles. One is at 0, one at minus 2, and 2 complex poles, and then setting up the transfer function and then sketching the root locus. So this is the root locus. Here you can see the pole which was sitting over here, it is traveling like this with the variation of the gain k, and this pole is traveling like this with the variation of the gain k, right? It is traveling like this, and this pole, this is going to travel like this, and similarly this is going to travel like this. Okay, so MATLAB gives you the root locus in no time, but you must have the detailed understanding that how you can sketch these root locus. That's all from this video. Thank you very much.